I don't want another pretty face. I don't want just anyone to hold. I don't want my love to go to waste. I want you and your beautiful.
He just wanted to sing, yo.
I didn't.
He just
But
wanted
Radio
to show
Disney,
off.
that was like in my brain. Going to sleep.
The flex.
It was
is
just
like, he just wanted to flex. He found his way. But no, I've heard of Radio Disney, but was it like a radio station or was it on television?
It was all the pop songs that were like safe.
Yeah.
On the radio.
On the radio, yeah.
Oh,
So
I
like,
didn't really listen to the radio.
It was literally an FM. It should have been an FM station, but it was
I
on
didn't know
AM
that.
frequencies.
I didn't know that. I thought that it was like a time slot on Disney Channel or something.
No.
Radio Disney.
I was so far detached from everything Disney as a kid. Most things Disney as a
Really?
kid, yeah.
That's unfortunate because that was the opposite. Everything Disney.
Really?
There's not an animated Disney movie I haven't seen
Really?
more than once.
Were
Even-
the Rescuers
I'm sorry.
Down Under?
I'm sorry.
Were they
There's one movie I have not seen that's animated. The Black Cauldron.
Oh, same.
That's old, right?
Yeah.
That's super old.
But it's also like super dark. And I was
But
a
apparently it's
Baptist
good though.
kid.
And then there was not a reboot, but a prequel made with the puppets
Really?
that came out on Netflix. The Dark Crystal.
Oh no, the Dark Crystal is not the same as the Black Cauldron.
Is it like maybe based off the same book or whatever?
The Dark Crystal you're talking about, that's Jim Henson's stuff, right?
Oh,
With the
Jim
Skeksis
Henson.
and all that stuff.
Did you? So I'm guessing you like Air Bud.
I seen Airbud. I don't think I like it.
The first saddest like live action, like Disney movie that I saw was Homeward Bound. I
Homeward
believe.
Bound.
Cat
was-
dies from the waterfall.
No, I think the cat came back at the end.
The cat
No,
came
no,
back, yeah.
the dog came back at the. They all like ran into their issue. The cat was in the water, but she got she was in the water, got swept away. But I think she was fine. None of the. I think
I thought she died in the water.
No, none of them died.
She didn't make it.
we
None of
thought
the
that
animals
we
died.
thought that
You thought
Shadow
she
died.
died,
No,
yeah.
we thought Shadow died, and then he came at the end limping like
Yeah,
in
he
the
does
grass.
survive.
Yeah. Oh my god, what a great movie! But
that was traumatic.
that format of like the voiceovers for like
For animals and
it was
stuff
like what was going on?
Yo, remember Cats and Dogs?
It was a time.
I remember that.
Wait,
Cats
like
and
cats
dogs.
versus dogs?
Cats versus
Toby Maguire.
it was Cats versus wasn't it Cats?
Cats and Dogs.
Oh, I thought it was
It
Cats
was called
versus
Cats
Dog.
and Dogs.
Yeah.
But it was Cats versus Dogs.
But it was
yeah.
Cats versus Dog, and the cats
And
were
cats are
villains.
evil.
Because they are.
Depending on the perspective.
Oh, who?
Again, perspective matters. We'll talk about that.
Sure. We're not talking about
That's
cats and
another
dogs,
episode.
but right. Anyway, I think that's the intro. 'Cause- You already know who it is.
KNS.
It is Big Dan,
Big Dan.
Rodan, the big guy in the headband. I have me and all my friends here.
Hey.
Because I'm a comic book connoisseur, sci-fi superheroes, here to welcome you to the Blerd Bar. That's right. I'm never by myself if you count the voices in my head and the voices next to me.
Wow.
Cobb, how are you?
That's a good one. I am just the Queen Cobb, right? I'm good. I'm
Yes.
chilling. Queen Cobb,
QC.
aka Queen Anti-Flex.
It's cold.
Yo. AKA the support character with boundaries. AKA the video game ventures coming at you live. And I'm good.
That's good.
And to my right,
Do the sound. You got to do her sound.
you didn't do my sound.
There we go.
We got to change it. We got to make it something else.
So what? Because if it's not, it's cold, then I don't.
You know
I don't
how
want
in
it.
that same episode of SpongeBob, the dolphin, there's like one where it cuts off. It's like, it's like, I can't do the sound, but it cuts off really fast. I like that
the
one
sound?
more.
Oh,
Like it's like
we'll
it's
see.
not the full one. It's like
We'll see about next season.
yeah. I'll send y'all the link.
We'll work it.
Let's
We'll
send
work it
y'all
out.
the link. Well, 'tis I,
Oh,
Helen,
yes.
from
Yep.
the land of Sake, Shinobi, and Samurai. The boy is Godzilla personified. Ain't no other name but this to go by. It's your boy, J-Hawk.
You just wanted to beat me to it. That's what it was.
Well, no, I hit the mic and I thought it was going to fall over.
Oh, but it sounded like you were doing the bird sound.
Nah.
Speaking of Persona,
Mm-hmm.
just kidding.
I never played that game. It looks like it'd be cool, though.
It looks like it's involved.
I tried to watch the anime and I was like,
No, don't watch anime. play Persona 5.
She said, no, don't do that.
Do that.
It is on Game Pass.
It just released like on Switch, so people are excited about that. And PS5, and they called it the modern consoles. I think they called it the release.
Yeah, but because you can't keep saying next gen, right?
Yeah, this gen, or last gen. But they're actually remastering Persona 3 and 4, to my knowledge, for the modern consoles, which is huge for people like me who haven't played any of the other ones. But in other news,
I played Call of Duty.
Oh, the new Modern Warfare?
Yep.
People have been talking a lot about it. I'm a bit surprised.
Broken as cuss.
Okay, maybe that's why.
At least on the Xbox side. Microsoft owns Activision now, but for whatever reason, doesn't cater to its players.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Because why would you why would you not give us a turn off crossplay option?
Oh, you can't turn it off?
No. You know who can though?
Who?
PlayStation. And Activision is owned by Microsoft.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they have like new features in the game, but that was crashing the game, so they disabled those features, even though people were excited about them. So hopefully they put them back.
So to clarify, this is not Modern Warfare 2.
It is Modern Warfare 2.
But is it Modern Warfare 2?
It's not the Modern Warfare 2 from back in the day, but it plays like it.
Does it?
It does. The guns feel heavier. The movement feels like
they don't have rocket ships falling on your head. They have like AC-130.
Yeah.
But it's like you're not flying around and stuff.
Nah.
You don't have a health bar. It's not an RPG, right?
No.
Okay. So I feel like that's where Call of Duty was going, and I wasn't appreciating it.
Yeah. No.
Well, if it feels like Modern Warfare 2, then
I'm looking forward to one day being able to play with friends. But for right now,
bring back Black Ops 2, and we can talk. But if this feels like Modern Warfare 2, then I'm interested.
This feels like Modern Warfare 2.
Oh, then I'm interested. Okay. I never thought I would say that about Call of Duty ever again.
No, this feels like it again.
One day,
but once
be a gamer.
Once they can figure out this whole like PC situation, and like separate the PC crowd from the consoles, we should be okay.
It's not gonna happen. If anything, they're getting more.
Yeah, but they can't fix the hacking problem, and with hackers being so prevalent on PC, maybe I'll post those clips. I have clips of literally watching a man walk through the air.
You sure that wasn't an Activision issue?
It could have been, but he was fine because he was just out here.
Well, that's how it be with like lags.
He was fine.
Sometimes with lagging, like the person that's lagging benefit from the lagging.
Right. He was benefiting very well.
Anyway, but that's interesting.
Moving on.
But yes, Call of Duty is out now.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy it. This is not.
I would say wait.
We're not promo.
Wait till January, because they'll fix all the bugs after Christmas.
Okay.
Because that whole Christmas rush will be once everybody's like, times 2 XP for the week, and
that'll be a perfect. But I mean, I think that's really great that Call of Duty is doing its thing, and I think
AAA games.
AAA games.
What can we say? Because I still want to play Gotham Knights, but I'm conflicted.
Maybe another episode we can talk about like
games?
launch AAA games and where they are, and maybe about like launches, first day launches. Is it as significant as it used to be, right?
Yeah, they put that thing out and they flip it and reverse it. It's not necessary.
That is exactly what's happening. But I think for today, similarly, we're going to be talking a little bit about, stories.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't check in on Josh to see how he was feeling.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Actually, I don't think we checked on each other about how we're doing.
Which is weird, because that's what we do normally.
It's my fault, because, it started by me saying, speaking of Persona. So that's my fault. That's my bad. I'm tracking that back to me. So,
you taking ownership of something.
I'm taking
accountability.
Right.
I'm taking accountability. I know exactly.
That's what we do here at the Blerd Bar.
I know exactly where this turned. So, Josh, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's one day I hope to join the conversation about games.
Hey man, I got an Xbox if you want it. That's not true. I don't have an Xbox.
What?
I have a PS4 that we could talk about.
If you want to donate it, I work out of school.
No, you.
So if he says no, everybody yell at him if he says no about donating a PlayStation to kids.
Right.
He said no to donating a PlayStation to kids.
That's how you get canceled out here.
He don't love the kids.
Me and Kanye, same boat.
Oh. That's accountability.
Right? Owning it. Anyway, how are you, Cobb?
Today I am okay. I had a good Friday. Last Friday was good. I didn't have the best Sunday. Sunday was a bit tough for me in the personal life. But this week so far has been good. So I am excited about some upcoming game releases. Excited about like some days off coming up in the schools. So excited about that. So I think like despite having a interesting weekend, I think like the weeks ahead are looking up. So
Oh yeah, I mean, we're about to get that time off.
Election day, I think we off, and then Veterans Day.
I got a half day.
Well, the kids,
Oh,
the
I
folks
got
that are
a half day.
responsible for the kids.
Did
Yes,
America actually do that?
Election Day, I think we're off, and Veterans Day we're off. So that is needed. How are you today?
I am doing better than I was last week.
Okay.
I don't know how much, but enough to
Okay.
know, to recognize the
That
difference.
You
notice
recognize
it?
the difference,
To
yeah.
recognize the difference. Yeah, I'm good. We're good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
playing catch up on these comic books because I really hoped at one point for to have like a weekly comic book review
I love that.
segment, not in the actual Blerd Bar podcast, but like other content. My brain's always turning with that, and I feel like I gotta stop blaming that I have children and just make content. And
And I think it would even be cool to like bring it here,
Yeah.
to let the viewers know what I think it's clear that we all have our own like spaces where
we have
we
spaces.
and maybe just like a couple minutes where we can just bring it in, like in comic book news, blah blah blah, blah. In anime.
Oh, okay.
Blah, blah, blah.
Anime it's big for anime this season,
Yeah,
so there's a lot
that's
to
very
say about
true.
anime right now.
I was caught up for like the first 2 weeks of the fall releases, and then
It's a lot.
it was so much.
There's so many that I'm not even watching.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to find out what happens to Denji, and I
Who? Oh yes,
Chainsaw Man. Yeah.
the episode.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Oh,
Nope.
today.
You real excited?
I'm excited. I'm just so impressed. We'll talk about that in other episodes about like what's going on in media in our domains.
You are just blocking out all of our episodes. I appreciate that here.
Yeah, because I want people to get excited. Because I'm excited.
We out here getting organized. 'Cause
We're
Cobb has
We're
always
planning
been there.
on
She's
air.
too
Like
left.
we're recording right now and we're planning.
It's gone.
But
has
it's good to hear that you're doing better.
Yep.
So today, I wanted to talk a little bit about the importance.
I got a setup question.
Yep. Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry.
Oh.
What's this
It's
question?
not that crazy.
Don't make it Don't turn into a debate.
Oh no. But- I
feel like it.
I'm gonna make it.
I was about to say.
She's like,
I'm gonna sabotage this question.
Sabotage.
I was going to say, if you were force sensitive, would you be a Jedi or a Sith?
Sith. Or
out the gate.
What's the difference?
One's good.
You can
At
go ahead and
least
put the
define.
womp 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 sound on that.
One
One
is narratively defined as good. And
I love
the
that
other
question.
is,
Jedi,
often the
Obi-Wan
antagonist.
Kenobi.
They're the
Sith,
heroes.
Darth
Yeah.
Vader.
I see. So the question is, who would you rather be?
What
If
would
you
more
had
align
had
to?
abilities and you knowing yourself, how would you align yourself as far as the dark side or the light side of the force?
Does it have to be that binary?
It shouldn't.
It's giving me binary. It's
Where-
giving me I
where
gotta
would you-
pick one.
no.
And I don't know a lot about the
It's
Sith.
more of an or, right?
Okay.
Do you feel like having
Still
some level,
binary.
maybe, or in the middle?
Is there any differences in ability between both?
Yes.
Okay.
Really?
Dark side is often considered more forceful,
Oh.
as far right. No pun intended, but more so like
There we go. I love that.
more tangible sensitivity.
We don't have
right?
a boo button.
I see.
Right.
And the Jedis, they walk with God. Is that
They
what
walk
I
with
mean?
hubris. Is the best way to explain that. They think it's their responsibility to kind of like protect. And
But within that, you have people like Mace Windu who like
Toe the
apparently
line.
was like they wreck stuff.
Toe the line. However, he still would be considered like if there was a line, he would still be on the light side of the Force.
Yeah,
I see.
He dabbled though.
So what do you guys choose?
I would like to think, given just my entire upbringing, it'd probably still be the light side of Force. So I'd probably be seeing myself as a Jedi that would likely be in trouble more often than not by Jedi Masters. They'd just be like, hey, you act up a lot.
Like, you got one more time and you're going to the Siths. Is that what they do? They threaten, like...
Not how that works.
Okay, my bad.
That's hilarious.
I'm sorry, I didn't
Go
see.
to the Sith right now, mister.
I only saw, like, maybe the original
great.
3.
This is great discourse.
Hilarious.
If you keep acting like that, you'll be a Sith. Be out there with the Siths.
Where there is weeping and gnashing of teeth.
You just out here in these streets. How's such and such doing? Oh, he out here with the Siths.
Yeah, he is Sith now.
Working them corners.
But we knew that, right?
The corners of the galaxy.
I do think I'd be a Tano team all day,
Yeah.
Just kind of neutral and out there. Ahsoka.
She
that
still don't
still
know.
probably means nothing to you.
Right. You just saying names at this point.
Right. But yeah, no, I think I would definitely be more along those lines of just like, I'm not gonna be outwardly trying to connive and take over the world.
But you also not out here actively converting people.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. I like that answer. I don't really know a lot about the terminology or the characters, but I like to think that I usually try to do the right thing, but I think maybe both sides believe that they're doing the right thing. But
No.
wait, are you saying that the villains, the narrative villains are like, we're going to do the wrong thing?
They know it. They have been.
They know what they're
definitively
doing is
evil.
wrong.
They definitively have been like,
But
we're going to oppose.
But that's
to her point, that's like
I get what you're saying.
For the sake of power, right? That's why they're doing what they're doing, is for the sake of power.
But they're doing what they believe what they're doing is the right thing for them, or what needs to happen.
They believe that no one else should be responsible for how they run things, or how they use their power.
I mean, that sounds good to me.
Sith it is.
But here's the thing.
I didn't want to pin you with that.
No, I don't want to be pinned with it either, because I don't know enough. But I'm saying, like, I think that, again, it's a matter of perspective. We come back to this point.
We do call you video game ventress out here.
This has nothing to do with video games. But I'm just saying, like, I think, like, all antagonists, right? Antagonists, like, if the camera angle is changed, they become they can become the protagonist.
This sounds like a great episode.
I think we talked about this a little bit, about like a villain. It really depends on the way how the writer is telling the story, or from whose perspective is it.
That's true.
Because every villain, and we're in this culture now maybe it was a part where there was movies being made about starring the villains of original film, right? Like Maleficent got a film, and I'm sure I didn't see the Maleficent film, but I'm pretty sure. But wasn't she considered the protagonist?
She was until she wasn't.
Yeah, so we're seeing like how maybe they fell from grace, or maybe they're getting a sense of their story in an effort to humanize them. So I think like even if there was a story told, is there any stories in Star Wars told from the perspective of a Sith?
Big time. That's all of Star Wars, actually.
It is?
Maybe the first 6 movies.
The second 3, right?
The first 3.
But wasn't the first 3 told?
6, I'm sorry.
But wasn't the first 3 told from the perspective of
Luke Skywalker? But if you look at it from episode 1 chronologically, it's the story of Darth Vader.
Right. So the episode 4, 5, and 6 are the first 3.
Right. I
knew that. So yeah, I think we can see. So my point is that if the perspective is depending on perspective, the people that are the quote unquote villains are heroes, at least in their own heads. They're doing what they think is the right thing to do, even if it means killing 1 million people. And I'm not saying that that's good. I'm not advocating for that. I'm just saying that if my whole thing is to do what I think is right, and
it may not align necessarily with.
It may not align with either. So I'm more. I feel like more. I would stay on. I would be a little bit neutral. There would probably be things I wouldn't agree with about the Jedi, and probably more with the Siths, probably, because I imagine the Siths are associated more with controlling others, and that's my assumption. Am I wrong? Tell me if I'm wrong.
No, I support this, because at the end of the day, morality is
Yeah, I don't have a desire. I don't want to control
people. The responsibility of morality is up to you and yourself.
I believe in self-determination, and I imagine, like, the way this story is told, the Siths are probably against that.
You got to stop pressing the button. Stop it.
Are you pressing the dolphin? Because you better not.
She can't hear the sound, but it's do it from Star Wars, which is the Palpatine, which is like the main villain. And he just keeps going.
Right. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to say neutral.
Gotcha. All right. Well, you heard it here. If you got
Did you pick one?
Question, I feel like I did. I said Jedi.
That's right. You said Jedi, but you be in trouble a lot.
I'd probably be like the one that's like
sent to the Siths.
I'm never going to be allowed to be master. Like I'll have finished like my night trials, but then everything else after that, they're like, oh, he's a cool Jedi Knight. He can't sit with us though.
Sounds like a shonen anime in the making.
Yeah. So.
Oh, but like Visions, did you see those?
She hadn't seen those either.
No.
It's like Star Wars but anime. It's like there are some really good stories.
We'll put her on.
Okay, I'm still like I watched the first 3 at least in order of release, and those were good. I don't know why I didn't watch the next 3. I think I maybe just got a bit overwhelmed.
It's fair. It happens. Well, we're gonna move on and probably double back to this whole villain conversation at a later date.
Yes.
But
I love talking about villains. Yeah. Speaking of villains.
White people.
White people be like.
Stop it. So today's episode, we want to really talk a little bit about storytelling, and we can connect it to like perspective a little bit. So thinking about like character types, right? Or like character tropes, or like a type of character. What sort of Black character types can we think of, like, just like from the back of our heads, just throwing it out there, like
Magical
historically? Magical Negro.
That's a type, right?
Yeah, but what is it? What is a magical Negro? Trope? What is a magical Negro?
Don't they fix the protagonist's problem, or they give the?
They normally do.
They give the the enchanted item, or that one nugget of wisdom that unlocks.
Yeah.
Find yourself crying at a tree, some random man
typically,
sweeping by, sweeping the dirt.
Yeah. Yep. They typically have like some insight, and it can look different in media. Like it can,
normally don't though.
But the point of it is that it's all to support the protagonist, who is typically white.
It's coddling. It's like
you can shake a tree all day. That doesn't mean you can make pumpkin pie.
That's true.
Or they may literally have powers.
Yeah, they do.
Like a magical Negro example. What I didn't see the movie. Don't judge me.
Green Mile?
Yes, wasn't he? Didn't he literally have powers?
Yeah.
Okay, magical Negro. So magical Negro is a famous Black character type that had existed in film since film's inception, even before Black people played Black people in film. There's also the Uncle Tom stereotype. Which sort of demonstrates a Black person who is typically
subservient.
A subservient Black person who's typically just extremely loyal to the protagonist or another character who's typically white. And historically, like the Uncle Tom is maybe a slave, and is typically shown like snitching on like other slaves that are resisting. And just like all up on massa, but I think like sellout, yeah. And we also see like more modern versions of the Uncle Tom that obviously are subservient in other ways. They may be rich, they may be independent, but they still sort of cape for and defend like white people or the white gaze and the white concept to like the death.
What's one of those characters?
Like in media?
Yeah.
Or actually like real people?
Well,
let's stay in media.
You're getting too spicy.
Right.
An example of a modern Uncle Tom. Make sure you put like the clock sound on here. An example of a modern Uncle Tom in media.
Yeah. Let me know when you find that one.
They exist. Like they exist. I should have had a list. Modern. It would again like it would just be them defending.
Is it the Black best friend?
Not necessarily because.
Or is it the Black best friend punching bag? Like
if they're okay
they're always like punch down.
If they're and if they're okay with that,
right?
And if it's to support the protagonist.
I'm loyal to you regardless of like you acting out.
Yes, like like complete and utter loyalty. But typically, it's like there's like a race like component to it. It's not just loyalty out of loyalty.
Let me know when you find one.
I'll let you know when I find.
I got one.
Yeah,
it's for me more fairly recent. I call it the Tyrese trope.
Tyrese?
The Tyrese trope.
There's a sexy black man.
No, hear me out. It probably dates before.
More.
Stop. It probably predates him, but it stands out the most prevalent in my head when I see Tyrese in a movie.
Okay.
He just doesn't. They give them bad lines like sticky, black, AAVE.
That's there's actually a term for that. They call it the
sassy black man. I don't know.
No, what is that term for? Like the really strong like the mandingo.
I don't think it's
or
mandingo.
Like the one. What do they associate?
More Shamar more.
Right, that might be like the light skinned nigga thing. Sorry.
The mandingo is like, and there's also like the
bull from the Woman King. Mr. Fabio.
Oh yeah, nah, not him either.
Mr. Steal Your Girl.
Yeah. Stuck in my head. But no, the Tyrese thing. I'm like, the movie I'm thinking of is like Transformers, right? When Tyrese is just saying random like AAV.
I gotcha.
Hey yo, this shit is whack, son.
Right. It's
I
like,
gotcha.
Oh, we gotta break in this fool.
Right. It's all like, oh hell no.
Jive
like,
turkey.
Right. It's like
the Luke Cage
right.
effect.
I gotcha.
He's just like, we gotta bounce, y'all. I'm like, this doesn't. First of all, you're in the military in this movie. Like, have some decorum. And it's just like,
yeah,
bro. And it's not like, I'm not even saying like talk white. I'm just saying like they give you every line to like throw some like adobo in your lines, as some Lowry's.
And that exists
in all your speech.
And that definitely exists in a lot of like sort of like the token in some ways. Like
it almost feels like the token.
The token is like they're sort of like that representation of blackness.
Yeah.
And typically it's over the top, exaggerated, doesn't really reflect. And I think that's the point about like character tropes. And there are a bunch of them. There's like the mammy.
Ooh.
There's the
cannon
angry
fodder.
The cannon, is that what they call it?
The cannon fodder.
When
so that's
black guy
when
dies
the
first?
black guy dies first.
I see.
Or like his death is a pivotal moment to rally the rest of the non-black people.
I see.
He didn't die for anything. He didn't die for nothing. But he kind of did. Like,
a lot of times they die for nothing. And the thing is, that wasn't anything that was like, it almost maybe wasn't even intentional. Or I'm not going to say anything that white people do with regards to black people in media are not intentional. But it almost seems like, it almost seemed like just some strange coincidence that the black person died first. Right? Because it was never for a reason. It was rarely because they were black. It just happened to happen.
Paycheck?
Maybe because it's like, yo, like,
because if you survive to end credits, I feel like your check looked different.
Yeah, and like maybe during that time period, people weren't really concerned about representation.
It was like the bull who fought Jason. Remember?
Oh yeah, I remember. I remember.
He put hands on him, but like still no.
And I think it's like the point of these tropes are really again to leverage the white characters. And again, I mentioned other ones like the mammy, the angry black woman, the welfare queen. There are some like I don't the one that's typically associated with like black men in like those Black Hood movies. There's a name for that. I don't remember the name. But there are a bunch of these like tropes, and we've seen them in like in old media, and how it was like clearly racist. And also like the really silly Negro. They call that the what's the name of like the really silly coon, right?
Sambo.
Yeah, like the one that's like really silly and just acting right. That's the comedy relief, right?
We don't take jive for you, master.
Yes, and we've seen it very clearly in old media.
The old Tyrese.
The old Tyrese. Maybe in some ways that's like a newer version of like the coon. In some ways, I don't know.
Feel like every time I saw Tyrese in a movie in like the last 15 years, I'm just like,
it's
who wrote these lines for you, bro?
I just thought of.
Yeah.
I feel like this would have been a great episode. I feel like if the bots were to watch this episode, I feel like they have so much to say.
Jillian, in the comments, just give us the list. We're probably not doing it justice.
We're not doing a good job.
She has a film background, I believe.
Oh yeah,
So.
oh yeah, and a lot of this, like I learned a lot about the tropes in like the Blacks in Cinema class that I took, and like just how the tropes have looked throughout history, how they've changed, how they remained, sort of like this idea of like most Black people, like over 80% of the Black people that won Oscars performing within this trope.
Ooh, like the sexy femme.
Sexy,
that's why,
Jezebel is what they call it.
Jezebel.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Halle Berry, because she like showed her tits or whatever.
Yep. So that's like a strange
Denzel
theory.
Washington.
Or like as a villain or something like that.
He was a straight up thug. He didn't win from Malcolm X. He won
yeah,
for Training
he didn't.
Day.
Very interesting, right? So I think it leads to the question of, all right, we've seen like Black people in all types of media in different roles playing different types. And we know that just generally there are a lot of different types of characters in media. Mm-hmm. So like what like character types do you want to see more Black people in? Like what stories do we want to see? Like what character types? Like whether that's a comic relief or like I like to call it, well, it's called the everyman, or like what do you want to see more Black people? Like what types do you want to?
I wish I could say the comic relief, but I feel like the comic relief is
our default.
Would be like the slippery slope of the Sambo or the Coon type thing.
I mean, we have successfully done comedic relief.
Were
yes,
they the
quite
only
fine.
Black person there?
Yeah.
Who?
Well, not the only Black person, but I'm thinking of Rel.
And which
Get Out and Get Out.
Oh, and Get Out.
Oh, okay.
So, okay.
But Get Out was a Black film, though.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was
because I was thinking of Rel in what is it? The video game.
Yeah. No.
Nope. Yeah. Exactly.
Nope. Wasn't thinking about that.
Exactly.
Blocked it out of my memory for a purpose.
What's the name of that actor, the really strong one that only plays comedy relief? Black man, mad strong. The one that like people hate right now. He would be an example of an Uncle Tom
from Uncle Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yes,
Terry Crews.
Terry Crews is an example of someone who has only
Tyrese Crews.
He has Tyrese Crews.
Tyrese Crews.
He has typically played like within like the confines of like the classic Black stereotypes, like either the comedy relief, the overly strong.
He was in White Chicks. He's in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
But see, I feel like there was and this is for somebody that pays attention to comedy a little bit closer. I think a lot of times he subverted the tropes.
How so?
Because he was obviously strong. Now they did feminize him in White Chicks, right? Where they like
did they?
Yeah.
And Friday.
They definitely like castrated him. And
literally
castrated him in Friday by having his, huevos in a wrench. But
wasn't in White Chicks he was like.
No, he wasn't.
Black, you go into a wheelchair, and then like some white lady in a wheelchair walked by, and she was like, "Hey."
Right, but then he was
like the scary guy that like was in love with like white women. He was like scary and strong, but he was really sensitive. Yeah,
and that was like they tried to subvert it a little bit from him being just a tough guy for the movie, and I think that was smart, but like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I feel like. If you pay attention closely to his character, it doesn't give me Sambo. To me, I kind of appreciated it because, like, he would always say, like, stop paying attention to my muscles. I like to draw. I like art. I'm a really good cop. Sure. He was a present father in his daughter's lives. Like, he did everything that, like, negative, normally is negatively portrayed in media. So I agree. To his defense on that. Everything else is about Terry Crews. Shaky, but
I gotcha. So maybe
in his defense, as far as his acting career, I feel like he has not sold out.
Really?
To me,
he just gets paid to do what he does well.
I mean, he kind of has said like, I mean,
he got extremely lucky. His first movie role was Training Day.
Okay, yeah, I remember that. Yep.
He's in Training Day?
He had wasn't he like he was
a bodyguard on set.
Yeah.
And then they were like, "Hey, you look like you belong in this group. You look like you belong in this group of
But then he just becomes typecast where he's either the strong bull or like the comedy relief.
Right.
Or a combination of both, right?
Right.
And it kind of reminds me of like the Vin Rames treatment as well, where he was also like
the big guy. They had to weaken him with comedy.
Exactly. Either they're like extremely scary or extremely they look scary on the outside, but actually they're just like really like mad soft, and they make comedy out of that. So I mean, I think
I don't know. I don't know if there's a way to win that, right?
to win. What do you mean to win it?
Because
to do that in a way that people aren't upset with how you portrayed it.
Right, because I feel like by both sides of that, black people want to see us portrayed as strong and kept as strong, right?
But we also don't want to be.
But we also don't want to
gangsters.
be looked at like he's so strong that he's they like beastify or like monster him.
But again, I think that's like kind of that binary again. Is like I think black people want.
Is there a middle ground?
I think we just want to see because white people are afforded to be the villains, the heroes, the romantic, the person that's sick, the person that we feel bad for. Like they get like this range. They create roles from themselves where they are everything, every character type that you can think of. We've probably seen it being played by a white person before. But it seems like with black people, we either don't see these certain character types or we don't see enough of it, almost as if we don't
see it often.
We don't see it often, right? So I like the idea of someone that doesn't really have any, they're just here, just trying to like live and survive. And I think like maybe Atlanta is like maybe a good example of that within the context of like blackness, but it's like I like the concept of like an everyman or an every woman or every person, where it's just like, I don't have any special powers. I'm not super strong. I'm not all that smart. I'm just a person that happens to find myself in this situation that I have to work through, and that's the story, right? Like the Nathan Drake is what I like to call it.
Nathan Drake.
Because Nathan Drake is like an example of like an everyman in video games, where it's like he's be struggling, he be getting beat up and struggling. Yeah, he got crazy upper body strength, right? He be climbing mountains, but he's always like, as he's climbing, he's like, my knees. Like he's like this guy who doesn't have. It's really funny playing as like Nathan Drake because he's like,
what game is this?
Uncharted. He's like struggling. He's like,
I mean, because he's still kind of like strong,
Was
but at the
that,
same time, he's not.
he's strong because this bull be climbing.
Was that Spider-Man in the movie?
Yeah, Tom Holland played him.
Yeah,
Tom
he played.
Holland's character?
Yeah.
We don't talk about it. We don't talk about
So that video game, like the character that's just like, I'm not the chosen one, right? I'm not the chosen one, and I think we don't see enough of that in like black media.
We don't see enough of black Shinjis.
Yo, facts.
That's what it is.
Facts. Yes. Even though he was like kind of the chosen one ish, he just was like a regular bull, just like, all right, I'm gonna just do the chosen one
He
job.
definitely was chosen, like
Literally.
his daddy. Like
He wasn't built for it though.
no, he wasn't built for it.
But yeah, stuff like that. Like I like that idea. But what are some other things that maybe you felt like you either saw before that you want to see more of, or that you just feel like, yo, where is it? I haven't seen it.
The thing that first came to mind was Tomi Adeyemi's book, Children of Blood and Bone. I read the first one.
Yes.
I have the second one. I haven't started reading
so
it
good.
yet. But the first one, I was like, this is amazing. The fact that there were so many terms that I had to like look up, and it's like, oh, this is like a real thing.
It's real, yeah.
Like this is like
the Orishas.
Yeah, like or even like what they called their tents. Like
Yeah.
their houses. Like
It's all based off of
real stuff.
yeah.
And I was like, this is awesome, and I love that like it's exposing me to this. And the whole mystical aspect and magicalness, I was like, I'm here for all of this. I would definitely want more of that. That would be one thing. Like, Black Harry Potter.
Yeah, I think, and this has definitely been talked about before, like, people want to see more black people in sci-fi.
Yeah.
But I'm going to make an argument of, I think I want to see more black people in fantasy.
Yeah.
But not as, like...
Not as elves or anything?
Not as, like, the
folk?
ancillary character, right?
Yeah.
Like, you got a role, but we still know who the main focus is on, right? Like, I'll take Lord of the Rings of Power as a reference. While there was a lot of diversity, they were all just kind of like shoehorned in there. Two characters were royalty. One was like a high-ranking elf. And then there was some other ones sprinkled in there. There was they weren't hobbits, but they were Harfoots.
Yeah.
He was the leader, but and I'm not going to give it away, but he kind of didn't. I don't think he was a good fit.
Like the actor, or
the actor,
the fact that he was black,
or just like that he was black. Like it didn't matter that he was black.
But
Yeah.
is that not? So I guess that's my question. Like,
Should it not matter?
Should it
matter,
or should it not matter that they're black, or should it be like a thing of like, because like I'm thinking of Lovecraft Country, where
Right.
it's like to a certain extent it did matter that they were black, and then there were other episodes where it's just like they were just black people out in space.
Right.
Right.
Like
So-
I think at some point it was
Such a
just
great
like
episode.
humans existed. Right. Like,
yeah.
Like it didn't matter their skin color. However, at the same time, there's power in that because
And then it doesn't have to be binary. Why not both? We get some shows and characters where it does matter, and they're in these different spaces, and
Yeah.
we get some characters where they just.
I mean,
happen to be
but
black.
that's what we often say here, right? Like I'm all for us making our own stuff.
and I think like race becomes less of a, like I was talking to, unrelated but still related, one of my students that had came from Nigeria to our school. She was like, yo, like race in Nigeria, like we don't really talk about it a lot because like we're all black, right? And it's like we're not really so bent over race unless there are other races that are a part of the conversation or are looking, right? That's when we really,
And
but
that makes sense.
yeah, so it's like in our black spaces, we're not. Yes, we're talking about blackness, the experiences that we have with the world and being black, but ultimately, like in this moment, like being black is not like this thing that we're so focused on. Like we're just
It's
black in a
not
space,
necess-
right?
It's not like their whole like character.
It's just implied, right?
It's not
Because
their
we're
character
here.
sheet, right? It's
Yeah,
not all of
exactly. But so I think like the more black media that we see where there are black people in it, right? Race won't be as significant other than like our experience with race maybe outside of the community. So that's why I like Tony Adeyemi's work. She's not. My assumption is that in Children of Blood and Bone, most or all of the people in that book are black.
Yeah.
Right. So the concept of blackness doesn't come up much. Now maybe like skin tone might.
Yes.
But and that's another issue, right? But I think ultimately, like, oh, we all black here, so we're not really talking about being black.
Mm-hmm.
The only time we really talk about blackness is because we are living in this world of whiteness, trying to navigate blackness in a world that is white, or in a nation that is white, and what that experience looks like. So I think like the more black media that we have, then yeah, we will see like media where like actually our race doesn't matter here. It's not about race. We all black. It's made by black people for black people. So we don't need to be bent out of shape so much over black people because maybe we're not focused on the white gaze or our experience with whiteness. And maybe that's the hope. I hope that we get to that point where it's like actually like we just all black and everybody we've seen are black. And
well, it's interesting because that reminds me of what you said in the previous episode. Where
Call
you're
back.
like,
you about to have me contradict myself? Go
no,
ahead.
I don't think so. I definitely want to see where this goes though. But like you said, when it's made for black people, you don't have to explain aspects of like the story or anything like that. It just kind of like to what we already talked about. Children of Blood and Bone. Like she didn't like I had to use context clues. I was like, oh, this must be the house that she's talking about. Let me look it up to be sure, but like you just keep it moving.
Right.
So it's interesting to see what that would look like in a world where we're just creating and it just is.
We just know it's black, or are we into a point where
But
it's
like, and I guess like what does that look like? Is that the end goal?
I think the end goal is to appreciate its existence, but not require its existence in our media or mediums. My
Explain that.
reference to that would be Static Shock. I watched growing up a character that looked like me, but at the same time that wasn't like my driving focus to watch each episode each week. Like he dealt with, adversity, and there was that one episode where he dealt with like racism.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, it was literally like navigating that, hey, I have powers.
Mm-hmm.
There's people out here who also have powers who don't know how to handle it as good as I do. And it was more so just like existing in a space where I know I'm black, but that's not the requirement for my existence.
Miles Morales.
Miles,
the Spider-Verse.
Miles
Into the Spider-Verse. In the movie.
Yeah, in the movie.
In that movie. I can't speak for the comics.
No, even in the comics, he just exists. He's a kid from the Bronx, and it's less about, you see so many, there's not as many issues focused on like, hey, that's Black Spider-Man. Like, you know, it's just not.
Well, he also doesn't show himself to be.
There's a few times where like his costume gets ripped, and they're like, oh.
Yo, stop.
Nigga! It's a coons. Shoot it. No, that's not what happens. But, but that's,
the game is a little bit different. We live in this like world where we're trying to make,
you know, but the dichotomy to that would be like, and I keep saying the word like, so I'm trying to stop saying that. But the dichotomy would be like,
I knew it was gonna happen.
Sam as Captain America.
Sam
Wilson,
the Falcon.
Oh, that's
Falcon.
his name. His name is Sam Wilson.
Sam Wilson is his name. And when you see him, you see. You did.
Oh my god.
We got buttons.
I want to get through this point.
Go ahead.
But you see him, you see Sam, and you're just like, he's black. I don't know if I can accept this as my Captain America. And I think I would appreciate if we could see characters exist and that not have to be the first rock of adversity they have to address each time. And that's where I would like us to be at, where once we get past all the tropes and storytelling, that the first adversity is not our race.
Yeah.
Each time we show up on screen.
And I think that will happen if more black people are making media for black people and about black people. I think that like as long as we have non-black, and not saying that there have been great stories made by non-white people that have black people in it, sure. But I think at least in the world that we live in now, like as we even like black people, even like black media creators, but especially white media creators, they it's almost like they just want to put that in, or like, here's a black person, a black character, but they have depth because racism, right? So it's like it almost seems like it's being inserted. So I feel like we're seeing a little bit less of like a black character that's just happens to be black, right?
Because I would have appreciated if Killmonger's like entire hang-up was not being black in America.
And that's my point about like media today. We're living in a lens that is even more hyper focused on oppression and representation. So I think like that is just going to come up, right? We're in an era where that's really coming up.
This is America.
But I think again, like as we see more black media and more people daring, then we're naturally going to hopefully like create or lift up creators that are making these alternative stories. And that's already happening. That's always happening. But then the question is, well, can that exist in $300 million budget films? Because it already exists in books and comics.
The only way that happens is if we stop casting The Rock. But I said what I said. I stand by it.
You said that? I don't disagree. I don't think I'm not a fan.
His racial ambiguity like gives
it
Hollywood
protects
a
him.
pass.
It protects him, yeah.
I'm not saying I don't like The Rock.
He's not a good actor. He's definitely a typecast.
He's The Rock. That's
he just
it.
happen to get paid a lot. All the typecasts get paid a lot. Can't imagine him playing in a drama. Right? That couldn't take that man's. And it's like that idea of being typecast, right? Where allowing first like the media
Wasn't
does
he
it
a
to
tooth
you.
fairy at one point?
Okay. I think so. It was either him or John Cena.
But was it a comedy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was a Disney movie.
Right. So it's like also that thing of like being typecasted into a particular trope and being okay with it, right? Being locked into it and not being able to be seen in anything else,
The
and we
fact that
see it
he
a
has
lot.
so much capital.
And then they make money. So
I
why
was
not?
about to say the bag is the bag, and
But,
The bag is the bag.
So no, it's good for people that want to be typecast, but it sucks for people that don't. Like and The Rock was not original. He was an actor. He was like actor WWE. But I mean, I'm saying like, but he didn't start off as this like aspiring actor, at least outside of the realms of WWF. But I'm saying like, for people that like actually like wanted to be actors and play in a number of different films and have different roles, that's when typecast kind of sucks, because yeah, I'm making money, yeah, I'm being called for this particular role, but it's very limiting.
Well,
So that's cool.
That's when you, as the actor, have to make a decision and be like, I'm not taking.
But
these
then that
roles.
may hurt you.
I don't know.
That might,
It ain't hurting The Rock.
especially
he out here just
because he might be okay with it, right?
I mean, he's also producing a lot of the projects he's in.
Sure, but he's extremely limited, and if that's what he wants, that's what he's okay with, then fine. I'm just saying that would suck for people that it's like, yo, I actually want to play in a horror or a drama or a romance. I don't, you know.
I feel like I've heard enough actors talk about it where it's like, you know, I did really well in this one film or in these few films, but then that's all I got. Like, those were all the roles that were coming to me, and I had to make a conscious decision. It was like, nah, I'm not.
And then what happens?
Then they just move on to something else.
If they get selected for something, like, we can't really. What if Kevin Hart wasn't okay with being like the teeny comedy guy?
Then he did what he does what he did, and he just starts doing dramas.
And we don't like,
company.
and it sucks because it's like
which one?
Tell me,
last one, the one that was on Netflix.
True Story.
Everybody was and the thing is, maybe he did a great job, but maybe he was a bit overlooked, right?
So wait, I guess we obviously have different timelines, because I didn't see anybody who said that True Story sucked.
I don't think True Story sucked.
Wasn't about,
I think it also was not a deviation from Kevin Hart.
It wasn't that much different.
He was Kevin Hart.
It's this idea of playing yourself
with some intense drama, retellings.
But it was a bit of an unusual.
Like, there was some dramatic retelling, sure, but he still felt like Kevin Hart watching that movie.
Typecast is basically like when you are.
But it was also
yourself,
his own movie. He wrote it for himself.
You're playing yourself, or you're playing off of the character that you were. Like, there are some characters there are some actors that we cannot imagine playing. There are some characters that are like a jack of all trades, right? They can do anything.
Sure. Right?
And there are some characters where it's like, oh yeah, they're only good for it's typically comedy. Like people in comedy typically get locked in comedy.
Or Denzel.
Typically.
Or Denzel.
But
Denzel.
But he still has
he has a pick of his projects.
And there's still range, and even if Denzel tends to play in movies that are a little bit more like serious, there's still more variety in drama.
Serious.
Yeah, but there's more variety in drama than there is comedy.
I don't know. Denzel been Denzel, and
Denzel doesn't. What? No, Denzel does not play himself.
Equalizer 2, Training Day,
Remember the
Book of Eli.
And what are you saying he's playing? Himself? What are you saying he's playing?
He's playing a dramatic guy. He plays the same guy in a different
heavy-handed dramatic guy.
But drama has more range than being that funny, because drama can exist strongly in different genres. Drama is almost like secondary. It could be secondary, where you can have drama and comedy. You can have drama and horror. You can have drama and sci-fi. It fits, right? Drama is kind of like that thing that you need to have. So there's more variety in drama and seriousness, but comedy is very limited. It is. It's singular.
I feel like they are two sides of the same typecast coin.
Drama and comedy are two sides of the same typecast. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You can't have drama without. I'm sorry. You can't have comedy without tragedy.
Exactly.
What?
Can't. That's all. Most comedy comes from tragedy.
Huh? Excuse me?
Yes.
Can you? Huh? I'm sorry. I'm not computing.
It's fine.
There's comedy that can. What kind of? How are we defining tragedy?
Traumatic experience. I mean, most of my comedy comes out of tragedy, I guess.
Well, then that's something with you that we might need to talk about. That's like that's some billable hours there. But I'm saying
back to the island.
Even historically, like, comedy is written out of like someone else's adversity.
Is that person's adversity being included in the like, is that person and their adversity being included in the medium? or are they just being referenced?
No, it's
because
like
scary. I don't recall like Scary Movie 2, which is I think something I thought was extremely funny, being like
they're
anything.
all at risk.
Aren't they all about to
they're
die?
all of their safety is at risk by being in that house.
Okay, now, I don't know whether this is semantics or like what are we saying? Because in Scary Movie, not once did I worry about anybody's safety. I was worrying about when's the next joke.
Right, because you
gonna die because I'm ready to laugh. You know, like it's not. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's tragedy.
Did you see that sentence? Are you getting ready to die because I'm ready to laugh?
But that's not tragedy within the context of Scary Movie. Scary Movie 2. Like that's not. There's no tragedy. There's not even tragedy to each other, like in the characters within the film.
We can disagree about
this. We can agree to disagree.
Who has been sad? And recall to me somebody that has been struck.
It doesn't mean you have to be sad to.
But what is the tragedy?
Laugh.
Adversity.
Adversity literally breeds comedy.
But I think that's such a cop out. That's so like lame.
If you feel like it's an umbrella statement, that's fine.
That's so corny. I can't believe. And the thing is, you're like. Yeah, I know comedy is this idea of making fun of something that maybe we shouldn't be. It like treads the line, right? Because that's what makes it comedy. Comedy is not comedy if it has to be risky, right? It can't be safe,
right?
Right? It has to be some level of risk.
Now, how far? And Juliet are considered a comedy.
That we're talking about comedy in the context of like what, like playwriting.
I'm just saying in general.
No. You got to be specific here.
Oh, now I got to be specific. I can't use umbrella terms around here.
I'm just saying, like, to say that comedy and drama are like on the same page. That is a bit. That's a bit tough.
I would say they're on two sides of the same coin.
Come on, yo! No way! I can't believe this is being said.
So what other black stories would you like to
anyway?
I also wanted to double back just to my statement. I feel like John Q was one of the roles that I thought Denzel got lost in, but.
Was John Q the one with the sick son?
Yes.
Okay. Wasn't that based off of a true story, though?
Yes. But I thought to this day he was John Q. I feel that. Because I was just like, he was like, give me my son. And he started doing the hand thing.
He's very good at drama.
This part. It's when he does this, I'm like, I feel that. Give me my, But
Denzel was very good at drama.
American Gangster. But that was also another true story. Malcolm X, another true story.
But like.
He's very good at drama.
I'm not saying he's bad at it.
Do it well.
I'm just saying he's also Denzel.
But it's about like communicating. The thing that makes drama harder than comedy is that drama is
word.
Huh?
You think drama is harder than comedy?
This is great discourse. I
Hold
appreciate this.
I'm a bit shocked by your shock. Now maybe that wasn't the right term, but I would say. It takes up it. I think that there requires a little bit more skill in drama, than comedy. Sorry, comedy is great and all, but I'm saying like drama is about not only communicating the words, but it's also you need to convince the viewer, right, that this is real, that you're sad, or that I, the actor, am actually sad. I think
it's easier to convey sadness than it is to try to get somebody to laugh.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
I'm not kidding you. It is much harder to convey
I feel like you
grief.
would be laughing if I was kidding you. But
no, it's almost getting to this point where I might have to laugh. You're saying that it's easier to convey as an actor harder emotions than it is to convey like happiness?
Genuine comedy.
Good comedy.
Genuine comedy. Positive.
I can't believe you just said that.
I stand 10 toes on it. We're allowed to disagree here.
No, I mean, objectively speaking, I think I can't believe that. I can't believe you just said that.
Because I feel like it's easier to relate to drama because there's always drama going on around people.
But for you as an actor to act, right, to act in a way that you are scared, or you are sad,
is a lip quiver
or anger. Yo, you play.
But to execute on a joke and it universally just tracks for multitudes of people.
Do you know how much emotion actors, even while they're filming or while they're like shooting this movie, this gut-wrenching scene, they have to embody those emotions and play it out and be ready to repeat it if they messed up on a word. and many times they're feeling those emotions, right? Comedy is not.
As a former actor, they
Go ahead.
just the trick was, right, to always find yourself. What was that thing that took you there?
Right.
That's easy.
No, it's not easy.
I used to be able to cry on cue. I could probably do it right now because I feel like I'm being pushed to that point.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but it takes because the idea, like you said, with communicating hard emotions, part of it has to come from you embodying that character, and maybe part of it even comes from you identifying with that character or you putting yourself there.
Exactly.
That is harder. That is much tougher. That is much more draining and takes much more skill to do properly, especially if the goal is to convince somebody that's watching you that because I need to be convinced as a viewer that, this person that I know is acting, are they acting? Like, is she, like, the emotions there, like, how can somebody act that way?
You don't have to convince them that they're going through it. You just have to make them feel
yourself.
a feeling.
Right.
True, but it has to be done in a way where it's like, it's not like, oh, she really, like, I know she's really sad. I don't mean literally. I'm just saying, like, it has to appear so genuine, because because I'm picking up on those feelings, I'm picking up on that, and maybe I'm relating it to my own life or someone that I know.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with what you're saying.
That's much harder.
I think here's the middle of the road for both of us, is that it takes a significant amount of talent to be able to drive a joke home. Timing, writing, pace, your face, all of those things. You have to do all of these things to make sure a joke connects. I'm not depreciating those who are skilled in dramatic acting and telling you that their job is less, but I'm saying,
what emotions does and this is the last question I have, and I know we need to move on, but like comedy, right? Someone that's in a comedy movie that has to tell a joke or they have to perform something that's funny. Tell me, like, what emotions they are trying to not only like embody but convey.
It could be a range of things.
Give me an example.
It could be embarrassment. It could be happiness.
Fear.
It could be sadness. It could be fear. But the joke has to land. For the joke to land, there's.
But that's.
I
feel like that.
There's like, you can go to school for dramatic acting, but like going to school for comedic acting is like, you kind of either have it or you don't. Like, comedians either like are good comedians.
What kind of comedians? Are we talking about stand up or are we talking about movies?
Comedy.
Because there's a difference here. Because there's a difference here between like maybe stand up comedians or maybe improv versus like people that are acting to a script.
I agree.
I still think comedy. You still have to land that.
You still gotta have a skill.
You have to land.
But there's more of a blueprint. But there's more of a blueprint.
There's more of a blueprint for comedic acting than for dramatic acting
in movies. Because you don't really have to convey. You don't have to convey hard emotions.
Here's the handshake, and this is where
I'm not handshaking anybody.
That's fine. But I'm gonna give you an example anyway. Okay, Good Will Hunting, the scene where Robin Williams is talking about his wife. Was both dramatic and comedic.
I don't remember, but explain to me. I did see the
scene when it's one of the sessions he's having with Matt Damon, and he talks about his wife, and he drives home this dramatic storytelling about how he's lost his wife, and that was his best friend. He will never want to remarry, all that, and then he cuts it with a joke about her farting, and it's the biggest laugh that you're going to get out of the entire movie. On top of the fact that it's also still this heartbreaking scene, and Robin Williams' comedic prowess, genius, whatever you want to call it, is still able to fit a joke into such a...
With words, right?
Huh?
Because from what I recall from that scene, I don't remember it like word by word, scene by scene, but if I recall, it was a very dramatic story, and it ended with...
He cuts it with a joke.
How much did that... No, let's be real now. What do you think was more difficult?
Oh my
What do you think was more difficult? The sequence of him communicating about his wife or ending it with a 2-worder or a 3-worder? That resulted in people laughing.
Like more
and
like 10 words.
And what made it funnier is the fact that he prefaced with such drama. That's what made it funnier.
Did I not say that?
It elevated the comedy.
Did I not say the comedy is bred out of drama?
But I'm saying, but the drama elevated the comedy. It wouldn't have been funny if it was just there in isolation.
We're arguing two different points, which I feel kind of still meet in the road.
All I'm trying to argue is that it takes much more talent and much more ability to communicate hard feelings.
And that can be your
negative
feelings.
This is her hill.
Toes down.
You can't act.
That is your hill.
You can't act sad and in despair. You can act like, because we do it every day, y'all. We act like everything is okay. We act like that joke somebody told is funny, right? We can act that because we do it every day.
When you laughed at me?
I'm saying, like, it's very easy to act positive emotions.
You didn't laugh at it?
I laugh at things that I do chuckle sometimes, maybe when I shouldn't.
She gotta go.
And y'all wouldn't know because I'm really good at it. It's not that hard, right? We always pretend positive emotions. It's easy for us to pretend positive emotions. Look how much you do it every day, right? But it's hard to communicate and to act negative emotions. We have a tough time even talking about our negative emotions honestly.
Do you
we
comedic acting often?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm not very funny.
I'm finding this hilarious. So,
I feel like it's too hard. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. And that is it, y'all.
So what story?
Tell us about
how you feel.
Where you don't see us enough in.
Right.
Like where
this
you don't see us
deviated
doing what?
So far from the path, but we appreciate you. And if you have questions for the Blerd Bar, and you want to put them in the comments, please do so, because we'll read them on our questions from the Barflies.
Comedy or drama, which is harder?
Jeez. Okay.
And where do you want to see black people? Where do you want to see us? You want to see us in some more comedy, some more drama?
All of those. I wanted to make sure we had the date here, so that way we could tell people where they're going to find us live, recording our final episode for the season, November 18th at 9 o'clock.
November 18th.
We'll be live.
It's on the record now. So.
It's on the record now.
It must happen.
9 o'clock.
Please join.
Facebook,
please.
Not Facebook.
Clear it with management.
We don't want to be in a room by ourselves.
We'll be here. 9 o'clock, YouTube and Instagram. We will be going live. And ask your questions live, or we can read them from the comments and just have them ready to go. Hang out with us. See what happens. Will we have another one of these moments? I hope not. We will. So, as we always like to say here, y'all have a blessed night. Peace.